Let me tell you a story today about a guy named Joe. When Joe was a day old, he was adopted by a very loving, doting family. And his biological parents were these two alcoholic people that just couldn't take care of him. And Joe grew up in this wonderful household, and Joe ended up getting married. He never found out that he was adopted. Joe got married and lived a pretty good life, but he ended up getting a divorce around 30, and he never had any kids. And so what he decided to do to cope with his divorce, like most people or a lot of people, is he went drinking with his buddies. And his friends tried to make him feel better, and they went out a lot. And Joe found himself drinking on most days, even when he wasn't out with his friends. And what this kind of illustrates, this story, are the different components, the different factors that really bring addiction together. And so for Joe, without knowing it, Joe had the first component, the genetic component, because his biological family, they had addiction. They were alcoholics. Joe had the second component, which was the psychological need, which was he was upset about his divorce. He didn't know how to cope. And Joe had the third component, which was exposure to the substance. Now, you don't always have to have all three components to become an addict or an alcoholic, but typically having all three is the perfect storm to creating addiction within a human being. And so I know that not everybody's story is like Joe's, and Joe's is a pretty simplistic story, but it is a great illustration of how alcoholism or drug addiction can really come alive in a person. And the earlier a person starts, the more quickly alcoholism or drug addiction can develop. And the more combinations of substances a person uses, the more quickly alcoholism and drug addiction can develop. And so what I really encourage and promote is education, family support. If you have addiction in your family, talk to your children about it, talk about prevention, and educate yourselves on how you would like your family to cope with those kinds of things.